Going to talk about the network simulation softwares. What kind of softwares we can use to simulate our environment, like routers, switches, wireless access point, and these kind of things. So in our Network Pro, we are going to use Cisco Packet Tracer, which looks like this one. Other than that, we also have other simulators available, which are like Boson NetSim. Then we have GNS3, we have Viral, we have EVE-NG, we have WebIOU, then Cisco CML and Cisco Sandbox. So these are the alternative solutions opposed to the Cisco Packet Tracer.
Yeah, and we want to use Cisco Packet Tracer. One is because it's kind of like the recommended from Cisco, right, Kamran? And
yes,
also because we want to start with how normal network engineer usually learn things. You don't want to just jump into a hardware right now, or a hardware, because you do have in phase 3, you actually have a hardware access, but as a network engineer, you have to first practice, and you have to first do something, or even create a scenario or diagrams or a topology that works in this type of environments. That's actually a normal practice from network engineers. You don't just buy stuff and then do these things, right? So it will be crazy, because if you buy equipment and you have run the topology and it doesn't work on those equipments, you would be in trouble. So understanding network simulations is actually a key part of your skills. And you have to be very serious on this. You have to install this on your own systems. You have to play around with it. You have to kind of play with this, that you feel like you know this stuff. And how are we going to do this with Cisco Packet Tracer? We are going to give you documentation, and everybody will have their own access to the NetCAD. That's the academy. The from the Cisco side. So usually you get this from them for free, and it's very powerful. We all use it for whenever we need it. So that's what you guys will be doing in the practical side of this after this session. When I give you the documentation, step by step, there's going to be like screenshots, and you will download it, and you'll just do the same thing what Kamran is doing today.
Yeah. So another useful feature in the Cisco Packet Tracer is that we have everything pre-configured, like these switches we have already available. What does I mean? The pre-configure means they have some kind of iOS images that I talked earlier. When you will drag and drop, this operating system is available there. But when we talk about the GNS3, EVE-NG, WebIOU, the problem is it requires a lot of technical details. You need to, first of all, have these iOS images. You need to download from some website these iOS images for GNS3, for EVE-NG, for WebIOU separately. And then you need to configure in these environments to work with these switches. But in Cisco Packet Tracer, you need to do nothing. Just install this software and everything is inside this package. So this is the benefit of having this Cisco Packet Tracer. Very quickly, you can even create a CCNP level topologies inside it, and you just can get your hands dirty with those devices, which is very beneficial.
At some point in CCNA, maybe we'll do like a lab on something more advanced, just to show you the capabilities of something else, because it has more advanced stuff. So maybe we'll do that later on. And Kamran have an example of that too, like how advanced it can get, with other things too. So, but we're going to stick to Cisco Packet Tracer in this training.
Yeah, in Network Pro, we will be just stick to Cisco Packet Tracer, and then maybe in CCNA we will do some labs on GNS3 as well in CCNA. Because Cisco Packet Tracer has some kind of shortcomings, like if I want to go a lot in detail, It is not going to give me those things which I can get in a GNS3. Then just I added this thing just to make you sure that how powerful these simulators are, which I'm talking about the Web IOU. In 2019, we were given this topology, which I'm going to show you, but not to scare, because this is nothing, just different routers, multiple routers are connected with each other. So just I'm giving you the strength and the power of this.
I see Christelle and Haifa looking at this and they're like, wow, this is easy. I can do this like right now.
I'm sure they will say one day.
So, I mean, the concept of this is that at the end, we all look at this image and most of us would just get scared of it. At the end of everything, at least you will be looking at it and you will understand what's going on. Correct, Kamran?
Yes.
But not, of course,
yes.
not because see, in Cisco engineering or Cisco level, or it has so many advanced levels. So of course we are not, because this is a junior network engineer. You're not supposed to now take stress of looking at this and like, wow, I need to understand every single thing in this, because that's CCIE level lab right there. It's a way beyond our network junior level. So we are going to start with something that you will get into a company. You will be able to manage switches. You will be able to manage routers. You will be able to troubleshoot things. You'll be able to understand technology. You will be confident on how networking works, and you will be able to move around network with no issue. That is our goal. Our goal is not to make you CCIE right now, right? So don't get too stressed at looking at this image like, oh my God, I got to learn this stuff. So
no, so this is just slide I added just to, give them an idea how strong this Web IOU, the simulators are. Instead of purchasing these devices, and which gonna cost you a lot, you can just import this kind of labs, and you can do whatever you want to do with these routers and switches. So this is the strength of these simulators, by the way. So these are just the symbolic representation of the devices. Like this is a desktop computer. We have this laptop look like this, and this is server. These are the multi-layer switches we're gonna discuss in CCNA, which is having the capability of layer 2 switch plus layer 3 router. Otherwise, we have separate device for the routers and separate for the switch. But if we combine these two things, it becomes multi-layer switches. These are also known as MLS. Then we have these hubs, LAN media, wireless, access point, firewalls, and these kind of things.
And one of the common tasks that you're going to come across, even as a junior network engineer, you may be given a task to, can you redesign the network? Okay, yeah, you don't need to understand a lot of advanced stuff, but can you redesign this big diagram that we created? Now, if someone give you something like that, you at the junior level should still understand these icons and everything, right? You cannot, like you wouldn't be making a mistake of putting a wrong icon on a wrong place. It's just gonna look pretty bad, right? So you're gonna come across this. Trust me. We always come across this when we work with even different type of vendors. Like there are security vendors that will come in and say, hey, can we have your network diagram? And sometimes it's not up to date, and you will have to update it on the fly. And of course, then you need to know about these different,
Just by looking at these topologies and these icons, you will understand that what is going on. So that is the basic idea. You must have an idea, what is this thing? And what is this thing? What is this thing? Just by looking at those, the things pop up in your mind that, okay, he's talking about this LAN switch. Maybe this thing is not be written there, and this thing is not written there. Maybe these titles are not there. So this is how you just, should be familiar that if this thing is there, it means this is router. If this thing is there, it means it is switch. Okay.
I'm going to quickly show you how to install Packet Tracer, and I'm going to also share some tips for Packet Tracer. So let's get started with Packet Tracer. So the first thing is go to Google, type download Packet Tracer, and then open the link from netcat.com. The first link is going to take you to the website for Packet Tracer. They basically have a course on that. So it's getting started with Packet Tracer. I highly recommend you do that. So once you click on the view course, it will take you to their portal, which is Skills for All. Now, this is something that Cisco provide. I will give you a warning that you can use this free material to aid your learning. So you're going to come over here, open the link, click on sign up, and then use a username, email, and whichever email you prefer. Then click on login once you register. Once you register, you're going to be logged in, and then this is where the course will, you can open the course and then basically go to the course section where it says download and use Packet Tracer. It is going to open that page on the right side, and you can scroll down, and then basically you will get links for either Windows or different type of operating systems that you have. Now here's a warning: if you're going to have issues, then make sure to contact or find the forums that Packet Tracer use. We will not be supporting any internal or home related issues that you're facing with Packet Tracer. So make sure to go to the help section, that the one that this site offer. So you're going to scroll down and click on that link, skillsforall.com/resources/ that lab dash download. And then of course in that you're going to pick the Windows that we are using right now. You can use the other ones. Just know that where to contact. Now, once you download the Packet Tracer, you're going to click on it and download it and finish the downloading part. And then after that, you're going to open it. You will use the username and password that you have created, and then you will be able to log into the Packet Tracer. Now, again, I recommended you that you should go over the course that Packet Tracer provide for 2 hours. It is really going to make things easier for you, but later on, you can also check our instructor how they're doing things, and you can replicate things, copy things. You may even ask our instructors in the Discord on how to do the things if you're taking the program. If not, then I highly recommend you follow the videos.
Okay, so that's fine. So this is how the Packet Tracer looks like. Okay, we have these tools bars here, and this is basically mainly the things that we are going to use here. So as you can see, this is the drawing area where we are going to drag and drop these devices basically. So let's suppose if you are already familiar what the switches are, what the routers are, and how how we can drag and drop the user machines, the PCs. So this is the area basically. If you just mouse over the first icon, it is talking about the network devices. So it means we are going to get our network devices from here, like routers, switches, and then we have these wireless devices, and even we have security devices as well, okay, like ASA firewalls. If we will click on this next icon or mouse over on that next icon, it is saying the end devices. And we know that what end devices does it mean? It means like the PCs, laptops, the servers, so the end users. Even we have the IP phones as well. And by the way, I have already covered voice over IP, a very small module where I configured 2 IP phones, and I just configured all the DHCP server, and then from one phone I just dialed up to another phone and it worked. So you can just assume the power of this Packet Tracer, how powerful this is. So so this is the drawing pad, by the way. So what we are going to do under the logical section, we are going to create a very simple topology. The topology will be like we are going to have 2 computers which are directly connected over Ethernet or fast Ethernet cable. Okay, so I'm going to make the simple topology. So if you need to click on network devices or the end devices, because this is where we are going to find our PCs or laptops things. Okay, so just drag and drop your this device on this trying area. If you want to increase the size, by the way, as you can see, this is very small icon. So what you can do from here, just click on this one and you can zoom in. Okay. Similarly, if I want to drop another PC, you can drop over here. If you want to rename that one, just click once on this PC0 and you can type like user 1. And similarly, this one, user 2. Now we want to connect these two devices. So from here, as you can see, if you will mouse over, it is mentioned connections. If I will click connections, we are going to find different kind of cables over here. Just mouse over. This is, by the way, automatically. If you are not familiar that how like devices or unlike devices we are going to connect, you are just going to take a help from or just directly selecting this cable and then you can connect. Okay, but we should have idea how the like devices are going to connect and how unlike devices are going to connect. And by the way, like devices, when I'm saying, as you can see, these both are the like devices. Okay, when it is going to be unlike devices, when we are going to have on one hand, let's say router, and on other end, we are going to have the switch. So these are called unlike devices. For the unlike devices, we are going to use always straight through cable. Straight through cables. Okay. Since these are the like devices, we are going to use what? If I will just can show you from here. Yes, crossover. As you can see, this is straight through. Then we have crossover cable. Okay. So for this, we are going to use crossover. So we can take, directly this automatically choose connection type and we can connect. But this is always good. You must have an idea what kind of basically the specific cable we are going to use for the like devices. So in such case, we are going to use crossover cable. So we are select this crossover cable, just click on that one. And as you can see from the menu bar, we need to select the fast Ethernet 0/0. And then just click on this another device, fast Ethernet 0/0 port. So as you can see, both are connected. And these are basically the labels are showing you the indications that our ports are up and running. Okay, but currently it is not showing you the labels like this is fast Ethernet 0/0. To view that, what you can do, you can go into the option under preferences. Here we are going to have these options from here. Let's say, for example, if I want to show port labels, if I'll click on this one, just a minute. As you can see, always show the port labels in a logical workspace. So just by checking this checkbox, as you can see, we can enable this option. Okay. So some people, they like it because they want to see my device is connected on which port. So you can enable this one. Similarly, we have this green, basically the shape, triangle shape, which is basically showing this cable is up and running. So if you want to hide this one, you can do from, sorry, logical link lights. As you can see, show link lights. If I want to hide this one, no, it is not working. So basically, this is the option, show link lights. Okay, so this is not working. Maybe in case of switches, when I will connect, I will show you. Other things we can like show animation. Sometime it show the animation, which I'm going to play later on. You will see, and there are some sounds as well. If you want, you can enable or disable that as well. So just keep as it is. I just want to show you how to configure IP addresses for that one. So you just need to click on that one, this PC. And from here, either you can go into the config, and from fast Ethernet 0, you can assign the IP address from here. But the way that I prefer is you can go into the desktop, and from here we have IP configuration. From here, just click, and here we can provide the IP addresses. For example, in such case, I'm going to use 192.168.1.1. And just by pressing tab, as you can see, the subnet mask automatically it picked. Okay. And in case if you are doing, subnetting, you can use your own subnet mask as well, like 255.0.0.0. Okay. But I'm going to keep it as default 255.255.255.0. After that, I'm going to put the IP address for PC2. So click on that. Need to go into desktop and IP configuration, and then 192.168.1.2, and we have this subnet mask by default. Okay, so this is how you are going to assign the IP address. And in case if you want to ping this PC from user 1 to user 2, what you can do, you can click again on that one, and under desktop tab, you can select command prompt. So this is same command prompt that you have on your computer. If I will do command prompt from here, so this is the same thing we have here. Okay, so in case if I want to ping 192.168.1.2 and hit enter, as you can see, the reply, the ICMP reply is coming back basically. So the ping is successful. It means our link is up and running. After that, we are also take a packet detail information as well. Okay, for example, we can enable simulations. From here, as you can see, what kind of packets we can filter. There's a long list like ARP, BGP, CAB-WAP, CDP, DHCP, DNS, DTP. Okay, so there is a long list. But what we are interested, for example, if I want to ping from PC from user 1 to user 2, what kind of protocol we are interested in? Basically the ICMP. Okay, so what you can do, because we have a very long list here, we just want to filter out. So what you can do, you can click on show all or none. From here, you need to select. As you can see, currently we do not have any event here. So to create the event, click on the edit filters. Now I want to select the ICMP packet basically. So as you can see from here, we have multiple like protocol IPv4, we have IPv6, and then we have miscellaneous. Under miscellaneous, we have a long list of these protocols like HTTPS, HTTP, ISAC-MP, IPsec. But we are interested in IPv4, so we will go under IPv4 and we will select ICMP and just hit close this one. So as you can see, now we have filtered out the ICMP packet basically. So what we want to see, we want to take a look of the packets as it leaves this computer and it is going to hit that computer. Okay, so from here you are going to select this PDU and select the source and the destination. From here, just uncheck this constant delay because we want to basically do this animation by ourselves just by clicking these play buttons. So click on this next tab. As you can see, the packet or the frame, it went from user 1 to user 2 all the way. If you want to take a packet detail, what is going on inside that packet, you just need to click that packet. So this is going to be your source and this out layer is going to be your destination. So as you can see, this is where the OSI layers comes in handy. As you can see, we have the detail of layer 1 and we know that we connected this computer with fast Ethernet 0. As if I can use my pen tool. So as you can see, this is going to be your layer 1, which is what? Physical layer. After that, we are going to have second layer, which is going to be data link layer. So it is going to give you a very nitty-gritty detail what is happening on which layer. So at layer 1, it is connected with the port fast Ethernet 0/0. On layer 2, as you can see, this is going to be an Ethernet frame. And this is going to be, by the way, your source MAC address. And this is going to be your destination MAC address. Okay. So after that, it is going to show me the layer 3. And we know that what we have at layer 3. We have like IPs, source, destination. So the packet originated from where? From 192.168.1.1. And it is heading toward where? 192.168.1.2. Okay, so this is how you are going to get a very brief overview what is going on inside our packet. So I hope this has been clear. If you have any question, you can raise.
And just a tip that packet tracer is not just for, learning material, right? I think you guys can correct me because you guys work on a lot of networking, Kamran and Harun. We use this sometime, mostly on our job when there's something that we need to implement. We also create this, right? And that's something we have to, let's say, there's a topology that we need to create and implement it. And if I'm not sure about something, I will use it. So it's an active tool that engineers also use for their work. It's not just for us to learn material. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kamran.
Yes, Daniel, exactly. Because this is for a very basics level and beginner level. So that is why Cisco want us to understand basically what is happening behind the scene. Okay, when we are initiating any traffic, that package goes from source to destination. But during that transmission, basically that packet goes through, or PDU basically go through what process? As you can see, like it is hitting layer 1, which is OSI layer of physical, then data link layer, and then network layer. Okay, so similarly, if I will click that one, it will go back to the destination. And when I will open that packet, as you can see now, we do not have any out layers information, but since the information went back to the source, so that is why this is going to show me only this portion, the information. Okay, so after that, I'm just going to create a very simple topology again, which is going to have like, if I just can draw first, let's suppose if we have one, we are going to have user 1 machine, then which is connected with what? Let's say the switch, and then switch is connected with a router. Okay, so this is going to be a very simple topology, just because we are not at advanced level and we are not going to create some advanced topologies by the way. So this is the simple topology we are going to create. So to create that one, we know that we need to go into the end devices. From here, we need to select the PC1. Then we are going to drag and drop one switch. So for that, we need to go under network devices, and from here, select the switches. And now here we have, different varieties of switches we can use. Okay, so for the simplicity's sake, we are going to use just simple this 2960 switch. Just drag and drop. And then we are going to use our router. So for the routers, as you can see, this is the switch portion. Now we need to go into the router portion, and then we need to select the router from here. So we can choose, let's say 2911. And we can name accordingly, like user 1, and then this is going to be our switch. and RT router 1. Okay. So if we want to connect these with the cables, we need to go inside the connections section. From here, we know that from PC to connect to the switch, we are going to use a straight through cable. So select the straight through cable. From here, select fast Ethernet 0/0 and click that switch. Once you will connect that, click that switch, it will pop up with the range of the ports. So which, by the way, if you want to connect to, you can select from here wherever you want to connect with this PC1. So let's say if I want to connect with fast Ethernet 0/1, so click on that one. You will be connected with that switch. Okay. After that, I want to connect this switch with the router. Again, we are going to use a straight through cable. So from here, just select this port fast Ethernet 0/2, and from router, we are going to use gigabit Ethernet 0/0. And by the way, if I will click on this router, it will take me to these tabs like physical configuration CLI. CLI we will be covering later on, because this is like the console we want to access, and we will configure the brain of this router from the CLI, which is stand for basically. So this is a command line interface. From here, we can go to the configure tab or the physical tab. If I will take you to the physical tab, it is going to show me the physical modules that are connected with this router. So in case, for example, if I zoom in and I can show you, this is the front of this router and this is going to be the back of this router. If I want to add another module to this router, because this router is currently having, if I'll just mouse over this router, as you can see, we currently have gigabit Ethernet module card is installed on this by default. If I want to add more modules, what I can do, I just click on this router. I can go into the physical tab. From here, I need to first of all switch off this router first. So switch off this router. From here, you can pick like, for example, module HWIC2T. We can drag and drop this module into this this module 1, and then we can power this on from here again. Okay, so it has turned on. So when I will mouse over on that one, as you can see, the serial 0/3/0 and serial 0/3/1 module has also been installed on this router. So we can add the modules as well on this router as well. Okay. So we have configured this small topology, and we are going to give the range of IP addresses like from the network of 192.168.100.x. So basically, X is going to be representing the host, and 192.168.100 is going to represent the whole network. So I will come over here on this PC. And by the way, I need to select this one and click on this computer. And then under desktop, I need to give the IP. (192.168.100.1). Okay, so 192.168.100.1 is given to this computer. And now I want to assign the IP to this router. Okay, although this is like advanced, but no problem. Just for the sake of the knowledge, I can show you here. So just click on this router, and then we need to go into the CLI. So this is, by the way, going to take you into the initial configuration dialog box, which we do not want. I mean, in case if you are not familiar how to configure this router, if you do not have any, the basic understanding about how to configure manually, they are going to take you to this initial configuration dialog box. So it is going to ask you the questions and you have to answer those, by the way. But we are not going to do that because we are familiar already. So I need to type no. And now I am inside this router. So from here, in case this is going to be your privilege level 1 or user mode, if I want to go into the privilege level 50, if I can show IP privilege, show privilege. As you can see, now I am in privilege level 15 mode. From here, I can basically see what are the things happening inside the router, like show IP interface brief, to see what modules, by the way, are configured on this router. As you can see, I have gigabit Ethernet, and then I added this serial module or wide area network WAN module into that router. Okay, but since this router is connected with gigabit Ethernet 0/0 port, okay, and which is basically down and down, I need to provide the IP address. So I need to go into global configuration mode and need to go into interface gigabit Ethernet 0/0, and I need to provide the IP address, so which is from the same network. Okay, 192.168.100.100, and that subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. And then to make this port up, what you need to type no shut and hit enter. So as soon as I just did no shut, as you can see, my cable is up and running. You also can verify from here, show IP interface brief. So as you can see, the state and the protocol, this is physical status and this is a logical status. So this is up, and my gigabit Ethernet 0/0 port has been assigned with IP address. Okay, to save the configuration, you can do copy run to start, because before we were doing running configuration, but we want to save this configuration to startup configuration. So just save that configuration, and now you can close this CLI. Now from here, I want to ping this router all the way from my from this PC. So what you can do, you can click this computer icon, and then you can come to the command prompt. And from here, you can type ping 192.1. So before I ping, I just want to take a look what is the IP address assigned to me. So what I can do, IP config. As you can see, I have assigned IP before address with 100.1. So from here, just ping 192.168.100.100. So as you can see, the ping is working all the way from my computer to router. So this is currently a logical representation of your topology. If I want to take a look how physically they look like, because in our production environment, when we'll go, we are not going to see this kind of topology. We are going to come up with what the hardware devices in racks, routers, switches, configured in our server form. So basically, to look that, they have, by the way, physical option as well. If you go into the physical, and then from here, if I'll go into the rack and jump to the selected location, if I'll zoom it in. So as you can see, this is the same thing that we were having in a logical topology. So we are going to have this switch 1, And then we are going to have this router one. Okay.
I think this is great for visual learning, right? You get to see that physical side, because as soon as you go to a company and they say you're the admin, you're the network admin or sysadmin, they're going to make you visit that little data center that they have, or you having to know physically how things looks like. It just takes your confidence level to next level, right? And we being in support, it's always like a little bit of the thing for us that I don't want to touch these things, or I don't know how these wires are connected, or these little pieces that connects these routers or stacking between each other. Those things are going to be crucial. But when you see it like this in a pictures, I like all of my members to come in and do this physical side of it too, play around with this, try to understand this, and try to Google these same products online, try to look at it exactly how it looks like. And I'm going to show you an example once Kamran is done, how you as a member with having so much powerful access can now access some real routers, what he's working on. I'm going to give you a challenge that how can you go back to a real routers now in your access to play around with the same topology that you're doing over here. You may not be able to do 100% replication, but at least you will have that real engineer level access where, okay, now these are in front of me, these routers. How do I go in? So I break this confidence issue in me that I just can't take this black screen, right? That sort of things you need to tackle it now. So once you get in it and you try to configure these things, you mess around with it, then it becomes like a second nature to you. And that's it. That's the whole part of you just removing that support mindset and going into an admin mindset. And that's where you become an engineer or administrator. Just wanted to add that little tip.
Yeah, thank you, Danish. So currently we are in a physical view. If I want to go back to the logical view, I can go like this way. Okay. So I'm going to show another thing. For example, I just want to go all the way to the physical and I want to create like a rack, and then I want to slide my switches and router into that. So what we can do, you just can click on the physical tab, and then from here you need to click this home button. Now I am in this brand new section. From here, I just need to drag and drop my rack. For example, this is the rack. Just if I can zoom in, as you can see, the rack is here. Now I want to slide in my switches or routers accordingly. So what I can do, the same thing that we were doing in a logical section, we are going to perform the same in the physical section as well. So what we can do from here, like for example, we need to select network devices. From here, let's say we are going to add some switches first. So let's say this is how, just drag and drop. This is your power distribution device. After that, I just drag my switch 0, which you can rename from here. Like you can name it like access layer switch. Then you can drag and drop some another switches like this one 3560, which is a multi-layer switch. Okay, just drag and drop.
I was gonna ask you if there's a way to add the 300 series or 3750, because I have that in practice lab, so I wanted to just kind of do the same thing. Do they have 3750?
No, they don't have, but basically the commands will be same. Okay,
Same.
whatever the yes.
Yeah, okay.
So there will be no any differences.
Got it.
After that, I have just drag and drop my multi-layer switch inside that track. If I want to rename that, I can rename from here, or I can just double click, and from here under config section, I just can rename from here as well. Display name, my can say like distribution layer switch, something like that. Okay. And in case if I want to add the router, then I need to go into the router portion, and then from here you just need to select the device like 2911 and just drag and drop. Okay. After that, let's say we have another in topology, we have another device like wireless device. You can come into this section like wireless section, and from here you can just drag and drop from like this access point, something like that. Okay, and then you can name this one like AP access point. So after that, now we have inserted my physical devices into the rack. Now I need to connect these devices with a cable. So I can click to this connection section, and from here, as you can see, this is switch and this is also the switch. What we can do, we can select some straight through cable, and we can just select this port and we can connect this with this port. And then from router to the switch, what we can do, we can select another straight through cable. If you cannot see those, you just can zoom those in to take a look clearly. As you can see, these are the gigabit Ethernet ports. So you need to select this one, you can select this, and you can connect to this first port of the switch, access layer switch. And then, for example, if I want to connect this, my access point with the switch, again, you can select the straight through cable. From here, select the ports 0, and then I can come on top and can connect with any of the switch access layer switch port. Okay, then just you can zoom out. Okay, so this is going to be our physical topology. Okay, but if I click on the logical, as you can see, it created that one, but as you can see, this is not in a correct order, but we can make it correct. Okay, like distribution layer switch, we have access layer switch, which is connected with the router, and then we connected our access point with our access layer switch. So this is how you are going to create or drag and drop your routers, switches into that drawing area, and you can create a topology very fast on the Cisco packet tracer.
Thank you, Kamran. This
Yes,
has been great.
This...
Yeah, I think this is good enough to get started. And Harun, do you have any tips on this, or do you think this is a good start?
Yeah, this is a good start. Basically, we have combined like LAN and a bit of WAN over here with switch and router over incorporating these both two. I think we should ask the users, like the students over here, if they have if they've got something to ask on this topology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll get to that Q&A at the end. So, but before I lose my track, I want to now take over, Kamran, and I'm going to show, okay, as a member, you're like, okay, this is good enough. I got in, I got my packet tracer, I start playing around with it. And now I get to get a hold of how networking is working, because it's crucial. Because if I'm a sysadmin, if I'm a network admin, I will be responsible for the way my infrastructure is running. This means if I get a job in a company, if it's a nonprofit and I'm a sysadmin, but there's only one network engineer, if that network engineer is sick, I will be responsible. I will be getting into these routers and switches. There's no way that you're not going to be doing that, right? That's how it works in our current market. Unless you got hired by a very big company and then they say you're a sysadmin, you will be working on your servers, VMware, and things like that. Maybe Bradley's doing that stuff right now. Then that's fine. That's also another way. But the expectation from you is that you should be knowing, getting into routers and switching at least at the basic level. It doesn't matter who or what title you hold in this type of companies. When you're an admin, you're supposed to know this at the basic level. So you just can't run away from it. My whole experience with the administration side is that if you don't know networking at the basic level, I don't care what level you reach, you're going to be always like I call this like a scared admin, right? You're always being scared in your heart that I hope nothing goes wrong with my network, and I hope my engineer never gets sick. But does that happen? People get sick, right? And one day you're going to realize that your things are down, and you're the only one who's now responsible. In the IT support jobs, remember, we can always say that's not my role, or that's not my skill set, so you get away with it. You assign that. It's just so easy. You're just going to assign this call to higher level, and you're good to go. correct me if I'm wrong, Gabby and Michael, don't we have this luxury in IT support that, okay, if this networking issue, I'm not responsible. I'm not going to get fired because I don't know networking. I'm not going to get fired because I don't know how to handle the basics of getting into these things, because maybe somebody told me, hey, can you get into a router because I'm sick, or I'm something major happened and I'm not there, but this is also very important. Can you get in and just do this? And now knowing that you have no clue how to get into these switching routers at the very basic level, then of course you're going to be dealing with a very stressful day that day, and that's why we're doing all of this stuff, so you don't get stressed on the job. So now, as a member, you have very powerful access with us. So once, of course, you're learning from us, trainers are coming in on Sundays, which is awesome. They're giving you all this knowledge, multiple trainers, not even one. But then you say, I want to get even more hands-on with this. I really want to get to that level where I just want to see a real router, real server, and now whatever, even at the basic level topology that I have implemented over here, can I just play around with my routers? Is there anything with us that we can do in JSS? Then yes, the answer is yes. Because you guys have premium access, and that's why we require this access in this whole training, so you could do these extra things that people get stuck and then they never do it, but you will have to do it, right? So how? Let me share my screen with you all. And I'm going to show you a same lab that you guys are doing, which is a Network Plus lab. And you guys are already doing that from your JSS lectures. So you're going through lectures, and then there are some practice lab videos coming in. Harun is working on that. There's some extra things that he's doing. So you're already messing around with this. But if you're hearing me and you don't have practice lab access, then you are going to either need to build your own lab, or you just stick with Packet Tracer, or just get some sort of online access from somebody that can give you this sort of access. So, but you as a pro members, you have this access, right? So I'm going to share my screen, Kamran. So I'm going to take over. Okay, Kamran?
Yes, sure, Danish.
Okay. So now, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, you guys know that you guys have practice lab access, which is this one, and you are already told that you should start inside the JSS. You should be doing that lectures, and there are labs coming in front of you. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys are confused, and I'm talking about CompTIA Network Plus 008 lab, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this lab is given to you. So here, if you come all the way down and you click on routing concepts and protocols, and if you launch this lab, so what's going to happen is going to open a lot of networking devices for you. So I'm not interested in this lab, actually. I'm interested in the devices, right? So you started, let's say today, you guys went into Packet Tracer and you start playing around with it. And you're like, you know what? Okay, now it's time for me to just play around with real routers. I want to see how they react to these commands and everything. So you're going to come over here and you see, okay, this is my topology right here. So look at this right here. They have a Cisco 2911 router. Then we have 3750 switches. Then they have 2960 switch, which is basically a normal switches and routers you're going to see all across companies. They have a mixture of these things stacked together in data centers, just like that. But then to control them or to work with them, they always have some sort of Windows machines or Linux machines to get into these routers or switches by using what? PuTTY and different type of tools. And these little things that I mentioned, like PuTTY and all these things, that's what makes you stand out on the internet. Not just to say, I created a Packet Tracer lab and it was so complex and I did this. Yeah, it's a good way to, but then every other students are doing the same thing. But what can you bring different in your interview is going to be like something like this then. Oh yeah, I have a practice lab access where I have real routers, real switches, and then I can get into it and then you can explain this. So now in this lab, you can come over here and go to next. And then now you see on the right side, all of these routers and switches are in there for you. So you can simply say, okay, I'm not interested in a practice lab, this task, so you remove that right. So what do you have right now? You have a whole router, switches, everything right there from scratch. This is not even configured. So you can go in there and you can start configuring from scratch just like that. It's gonna spin up just what Kamran told you in the Packet Tracer like a router or a switch spin up and say, okay, do you want to configure it? Yes or no? We'll say no, right? And you start getting to see the real router getting configured right here. So the purpose of me showing you this is that you can come over here, you can start playing around with the same topology, logical way in your packet tracer, see it in a physical way visually. So then you get that image in your mind captured. Then when you practice over there, you got the idea, everything is working, you come over here and you start working on it. Okay. Now, 100%, would you be able to replicate things? Maybe no, maybe yes. But let's say you are having some sort of issues related to the chapter, then you can probably ask Kamran or you can ask Harun, because Harun actually worked on this a lot. So I think Harun would be the best one. So you can ask him, hey, I'm having some sort of issues. Then he can tell you, is it possible? Is it not possible? So this way you guys are getting more hands-on on real systems. So then when you go to the server right here, which is connected to this as well, you can then, once you configure things around, go ahead and click on this little 3 dots and do automatic login over here. It's going to log you in. Now, if I look at this, this is like a normal network admin, network engineer desktop looks like this, right? PuTTY, Wireshark, FileZilla, right? This is how it looks like. If you open any network engineer desktop, it looks like this. So the reason for me showing you this little practical way is I really want to convert logical stuff, packet tracer stuff, back into real stuff. I mean, the whole JSS platform goal is to make you a real engineer, make you work on a real system. Okay, that's the end goal for us. And this is why we're so crazy about getting into practice labs after your simulated type of learning, because at the end of the day, you're working on real systems. You're not working on simulations, right? And now when you come over here, this should be one lab that you have, at least okay, I got all of these equipments in my one lab for quite a good time, and I can replicate anything from my packet tracer to here, and that is going to build your confidence at the next level. I can guarantee you on that. Once you finish all of that things over here, then you're going to have some great time with you even telling yourself, okay, you know what, I'm at a very good level right now. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And then Harun is making extra videos, extra content on similarly what I'm showing. So he's going to go over packet tracer, and then he's going to come back to these labs as well, because now he knows he has all this access. So he can also, from a trainer point of view, he can create more scenarios for you guys to make sure that the chapter, whatever we wanted to teach in the chapter, is totally implemented in the real world.
So as all of you are following this topology in practice labs, the topic is routing concepts and protocols, and this topology is being used in CompTIA network N10-008, and you can see all the interfaces connected. We have NY core 1, NY core 2 switches, these are core switches. Then we have access switch, then we have a server connected to the access switch, followed by we have NY WAN 1 router, NY Edge 1 router, and NY Edge 2 router. We have replicated this topology onto our Cisco packet tracer. So this is the same topology, and we are going to discuss how to connect different networks. So starting off with this main layer over here, NY Edge 1 and NY Edge 2, these two routers are connected via serial interfaces, and every lecture would be bringing about knowledge how to connect from this node to this node or vice versa. So right now we are discussing NY Edge 1 and NY Edge 2. Hereby this serial 0/0/0 has the IP 10.0.0.1. It is directly connected to this router 10.0.0.2. So it means that this directly connected networks can ping each other. So this is the IP 10.0.0.2. We need to correct this. Okay. Now we have configured a network loopback interface over here. Loopback interface is just a virtual interface. You can think it as a different network. So this is the loopback interface having the IP address 192.168.200.1, subnet mask 255.255.255.0. So loopback interface is basically, you can just denote it as a other network connected to this router. So now you can see over here we have 10.0.0.0 network over here and 192.168.200.0 network over here, right? So we have to reach from this network to this network, from this different network ID to this network ID, right? For that, we are going to move on to this router and we will configure the static route. Moving on to configure terminal. So command should be as follows. Command is IP route, and we have to reach which network? 192.168.200.0. This is the destination, so we will put in destination first, followed by subnet mask 255.255.0, followed by next hop. So next hop of this NY adjuvant router is 10.0.0.2. We will put in this next hop. So we have configured this static route from this source to destination. Now vice versa, we have to configure a static route over here as well. We've already configured the static route over here. You can see over here with the command show running config will give you the configuration. So you can see over here the route is as follows: 192.168.16.0, and next hop is 10.0.0.1. Okay, so what is 16.0? We can see over here 16.0 is this interface. 192.168.16.2 is the IP over here. From this network to this network we can reach via this static route, which is 192.168.16.0, and the next hop is 10.0.0.1. For NY2, next hop would be 10.0.0.1. So to reach this network 16.0, we have the next hop as 10.0.0.1 and destination is this network from source NY1. Alright, now we can ping the other network from this router, which is 192.168.200.1 is the IP. Ping 192.168.200.1 is the IP. You can see we can ping it successfully because of the static route, and from here we can also ping the network. Ping 192.168.16.2. You can see we can ping this network. So we are able to ping both the networks from respective routers. That can be on any location. This can be, for suppose this is in Alaska, this can be in New York, but basic routing, static routing is configured to reach from source to destination and vice versa. Secure shell that is needed for secure access of your remote devices or devices in your premises, like routers, switches, firewalls. So we will be using the practice lab topology for the same. You can see over here the topology, and we are going to work around this topology, and we will try to focus on different scenarios by using this connectivity of routers, switches, and the diagram. So hereby you can see over here we have a Cisco tool server that is connected to an access switch, and then that access switch is connected to two core switches, and those two core switches are then connected to routers. So first of all we will try to get access of this NY access 1 switch using telnet or secure shell basically. So we will be using secure shell to access this switch from the Cisco tool server, and I'm going to take you to practice lab, and from whereby we can begin our topology changes or the required configuration. So you can see all the devices are powered on, and I'm particularly talking about NY access 1 switch and the Cisco tool server, that is a Windows server. You can see it is connecting, and we can log in with any of the accounts.
So we can use administrator account and password is as follows. So logging in with this username and password, and we are now on the Windows server, and you can see over here we can check and verify the IP address given to the server from this command prompt as well. So we can type the command ipconfig \all. This will give us the detail, and you can see over here the IP address of this server is 192.168.16.10 and the default gateway is 192.168.16.1. And now we can move on to the NY Access 1 switch. This is the Cisco switch. Would you like to enter the initial dialog configuration? No. And from here we can move on to the privilege mode, and we can see what is the running configuration with the command show running config. So you can make use of these live router switches to get hands-on, to get to know the commands and build topology and rectify and troubleshoot the issues. Hereby you can see over here the configuration over here on the switch. There is no IP on the interface VLAN 1. So first of all we can give this switch an IP address, so that for that we will use interface VLAN 1, that is the default VLAN. IP address, this VLAN would be used as management so that we can access the switch. We are giving it IP address 192.168.16.20, subnet mask 255.255.255.0. So this will give us the subnet mask and no share to bring up this interface. This is now up. We can ping this from the server itself. So we can ping this. Pinging this server. So we are going to ping the switch from the server. So IP is 192.168.16.20. Set .16.20. So you can see ping is successful. Now to access this switch we need to configure secure shell. For that we need to give this switch a host name. First of all, host name. So host name is NYAccess1. Then IP domain, practice labs. So that is the second step. practicelabs.com. IP domain, practicelabs.com. Crypto key generate RSA. So this will generate a key, and we can make this key of 1024 bits. This will now generate secure key. So that has been now secure shell has been enabled. For remote access line VTY 0 till 15, username should be login local, username. So for username, we need to get out of this config dash line, username, Cisco, and password is also Cisco. Transport, line VTY 015, transport, input should be only using secure shell. Done. Moving on to the server again. So now we have a tool that is known as PuTTY. By using PuTTY, we can access the router or switch using secure shell or telnet. We will be using secure shell. The IP of the switch is as follows: 192.168.16.20. You can see the security alert. This means we are able to access the switch using PuTTY, and the password we can log in with the local username and password Cisco that we set, and we are now able to access the switch. You can see over here NY access 1 switch. So this is how we configure the PuTTY and secure shell. Now we can also enable the enable password. Basically, for that, enable secret, make it as Cisco 123. So this password will get us to the privilege mode. We are now back to the Cisco tool server. So basically, if your switch is at a remote location, we need to access the switch. If you have connectivity, we can access the switch using this PuTTY, and secure shell is the secure connection to get the access of your switch to troubleshoot, to configure, to make any changes to that. So now we already have the access. We can move into the privilege mode, and this will ask for the password, and the password we set was Cisco 123, for that is the enable secret password. Now we enter the password. We are here. So this is how we configure the basic access to the switch or router. The same configuration can be applied to router as well. Access list. In this section, last video was about secure shell. So now we are going to discuss about access list. This is the same topology of practice lab. You can configure any kind of configuration using this topology. We have live routers, switches with proper connectivity. You can use any link given by and make scenarios and learn more and more about network topologies, the complex configurations, and how to connect devices together and different networks. So right now I'm going to discuss about access list. To access this switch, we have to use secure shell or telnet. Preferable is secure shell. So for security purposes, we need to allow only this IP to be able to access the switch. Other IPs except this should not be able to access the switch remotely. So that is the main goal of this lecture. So we are going to use standard access list based on this scenario. So we can see that we have NY access 1 switch over here. You can see, we can see the console. Enable, the password for the enable is Cisco123. You can set any password. Moving on to global configuration mode, configure terminal, IP, access list, standard, and we're going to name it as access list, permit, host. We're going to enter the IP of the server 192.168.16.10. Only this IP would be allowed to permit to get access of the switch. Now the direction of the access list. So for remote access, the command is line vty 0 till 15 sessions, access list, and the name of access list was access list, and direction. So you can see with question mark the direction is incoming and outgoing. We will keep incoming and try to reconnect and take the putty of the switch. So first of all, we are going to ping the switch having IP 192.168.16.20, and from this PC 192.168.16.10. This can ping the switch, and we can try to take the secure shell access of the switch 192.168.16.10. You can see we are able to ping the switch, and we can take the secure shell access of the switch. You can see over here the security warning. It means this IP that has been permitted on the access list is able to access the switch easily. You can see in front of you. So now, to verify that access list is working and permitting that single IP that has been allowed on the switch on that standard access list, we can now change this server's IP from 16.10 to different one, and then try to ping and access the switch. This will verify that our access list is working and allowing only one IP to access the switch. So we can now open the network and sharing center, and now moving on to change adapter options, change adapter settings, moving on to lab NIC or network interface card. So moving on to properties, so moving on to IPv4. So you can see the IP is 16.10 over here. We need to replace this to verify that only 16.10 is allowed to access the switch, other IP won't be allowed. So we are giving this IP, this PC and IP 16.30. Click OK. So we have given this server the IP, and now we can test the connectivity or access to the switch and verify the access list. So now we are trying to ping 16.20 and take the putty 192.168.16.20. Open the connection. You can see network error connection refused because we are not allowing this IP 16.30 to access the secure shell of the switch using secure shell, and the access list was applied to this particular IP. Thank you.